Welcome to the 1000 GM Player Profiles. I'm here with Fide Master Nico Chasin. Nico, how do you feel today?
I'm in a great mood. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show, Nico. We're excited to have you. So we're going to start with a few questions from the sponsor, 1000 GM. And first question they want to know is, what do you think about 1000 GM's mission to provide norm tournaments for free to players like yourselves and to help produce thousands of grandmasters in the United States?
I really respect them for it. I know that it's really tough in the United States, which is already extremely expensive, to go to norm tournaments. You have to travel, you have to pay $800 or whatnot to, just for the entry fee. It's not a guaranteed norm. You need 3 of them. You also have to pay for the hotel, flights, bringing a parent along usually.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. So when I got the news that they were doing free norm tournaments, I was more than excited to participate in their mission, and
Great.
I was very excited to participate in the event.
How much money have you spent at norm tournaments playing?
So just the entry fee, or also tournament, also hotel expenses and traveling?
Yeah, can you estimate it when you add all that stuff in?
Easily. I've played probably 10 norm events, which could be close to $10,000.
Wow.
Which is a crazy amount of money. And it's really been a big sacrifice for my parents, and I really appreciate them for that. They worked super hard to support my chess aspirations. Coaching and going to tournaments is not cheap by any means, and I really appreciate them for it.
Well, we appreciate your parents as well. Shout out to your parents. They're awesome. So let's talk about what those norm events were like. What were the conditions at these events that you played?
So I have mostly played at the Charlotte Chess Center, and there's actually recently been some norm tournaments in New York City. They're very well organized. Don't get me wrong. They're super professional. All of the games are broadcasted. Great environment. Chance to get a norm. I love that. But it's expensive, and it's a lot of pressure when you're playing, knowing that I don't want to make my parents have to do this so many times. So every time I'm there, I'm like, I really got to give it my all. I want to, try to get those norms. And it's tough.
So
really tough.
How old are you, Nico?
I'm 15, about to be 16.
Okay. And you travel with your parents then normally?
Yes. Yeah, usually one, but
okay.
I do travel.
Yeah, so one of your parents will come with you. That's great. And do you guys stay at a hotel usually then when you're going to the tournaments?
Yes, but actually, what's really nice about the location for the 1000 norm tournament, GM norm, 1000 GM tournament, is that I have family in LA, so I will actually be staying at their house. So I won't even be paying for a hotel. And it's like 10 minutes drive from I know LA is huge, but they're very close to the hotel.
Yeah. Do you think that's important to be able to stay close and to have either hotel or friends and family to stay with?
Well, LA is huge. It's like an hour. It can easily be an hour to drive places there. And especially when a round's at 10 a.m., which, by the way, I love. I think that's great. The 7 p.m. rounds are a little bit late.
Yeah.
It's important to be able to wake up, have a nice breakfast, possibly review your lines if you want to do that for a little bit. And that's why being close to the venue is very important, I think.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the hard question.
Okay.
And this is definitely challenging. You're only 15, so you don't have to be perfect at this one. But do you think there is systemic discrimination in chess towards financially privileged players? Meaning, players that have a lot more money, will they have better access to these kind of events?
I think that type of disparity exists in everything in the world, from education to norm tournaments. to traveling to everything. I think there's definitely that. And it's an unfortunate reality. And I am aware of it because, you know, I know from my dad is very vocal about his beliefs on, you know, income disparity. And I know that, you know, if these tournaments are expensive and if you don't have the money to play, you're either going to need to find a sponsor or it's going to be really tough and you're going to have to play open events, which are 10 times harder to get these norms in. So there's definitely exists.
Yeah, I appreciate that answer. I mean, that's very astute for someone your age. Do you attribute that to your dad's sensibilities?
100%. My dad has, he's actually a professor of like human rights at Columbia. So he definitely, those issues matter a lot to him. And as a result, they matter a lot to me too. But I've formulated my own opinions as well.
Right, of course. Yeah, okay, Nico. Let's actually move on and get down to the, you know, history of your own chess playing.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start playing, and you know, how did you learn?
So in New York City, there is a park called Union Square, which is famous for having chess hustlers in it. There's been tons of YouTube videos of people going there, you know, playing them. They're super nice. They sit out there and they just, you know, they spread the love of the game to the community. And my parents and I used to go shopping. There's a Whole Foods right across and another market right near there. And when I was at the young age, I would say of 4, I saw them at the boards and I was like, can I play? I want to learn this game. And my parents were first a little maybe hesitant, but to like leave their kid alone at 4 with some people in a park in New York City. But we met this guy his name's Big John. That's what he goes by.
All right.
He's been in lots of YouTube videos. You can see him online. And basically I would just sit there for an hour while they shopped and he gave me lessons. Wow. And that's how I learned to play.
Wow. Shout out to Big John. That's awesome.
Yeah. Josh Waitskin learned the same way actually.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah. I mean, from Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Exactly.
Fame.
Yeah.
Have you met Josh Waitskin?
I think I have, but I don't know him personally.
Okay. I was just curious because same scene in New York. So
yeah, exactly.
You learned from Big John, and then, you know, what level did he bring you up to?
Knowing how to move the pieces, to be honest, and maybe a little more.
That's good.
But that was mostly it. But I continue to go there even till this day.
Great. And they still play you?
What happens? So I remember when I was about 8. So he said, "Look, he needs a new coach. Like, as much as I enjoy his time, he's talented, and he should have a coach."
Great.
And so I got a coach. Not anything crazy, but I still wanted to hang out with him. I was like, this guy taught me. Like, I want to, you know, still see him, and so I would play with him. And I remember one time, I beat him. And I got a little bit angry because I thought he was going easy on me. And it turns out he wasn't. And I won a game. And I remember it, you know, that was a long time ago. And I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Okay. So then how did you get into tournament chess then?
Well, I just really love the game. And once I was told that there's tournaments, you know, in New York City, there are all over the place. Every school has them. In most schools, it's actually in the curriculum chess that kids, when they're in like kindergarten and first grade, have to learn. That's amazing. I just went to a school and played my first tournament, lost almost all my games, but just wanted to do it and went every weekend for, I mean, honestly, close to even till today, except during the pandemic.
Okay, so then when did you start hitting resistance, where you were having trouble winning, and then? I mean, I assume you shot up pretty quickly.
Yes. So I was actually quite quickly. I went from 600 to 1600 in a year.
Wow.
Then went from 1600 to 2000 in a year, and I was 2200 by 10. So
Fantastic.
I was expert at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to slow down a bit because I never really studied when I was younger. I just played, which is, I think, what some people do. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But I skyrocketed. And then I remember 6th grade, I went to Spain for the World Youth or Cadet Championship for under 12. And this was the last time I was really up there for my age group. Mm-hmm. And there's people at the likes of Gukesh was the #1 seed. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah, Master Gukesh from India, if people don't know.
And Volodar Mirzin, who is now 2550 FIDE. Those were the top 2 seeds. And there were American players of the likes of Chris Yu, Arthur Guo, who one of them I think is playing in the event. Arthur, I believe.
Yeah, Arthur is. That's correct. Yeah.
And it was an extremely strong tournament. It was the best players under 12 in the world. And I got 3rd place. And that was a really big deal for me. But I had to make a decision. Do I want to focus on school or do I want to focus on chess?
Right.
And my parents are both educators, and it was important to me to focus on school. And so then I kind of just plateaued for quite a bit. I was 2350 USCF in 6th grade, and I'm only 100 points higher now. So, but I still love the game a lot.
Right. I mean, I'm assuming you were in some rigorous schooling programs then.
No, I was not. I was actually in a very easy public school.
Oh, okay. So then, was it just kind of natural? You wanted to do something else?
I wanted to be a quote unquote normal kid, whatever that means. Going to see friends, doing whatever I was doing as a middle schooler, right? But chess, the only thing I did, I would play online. I would still go to tournaments, but I wasn't taking it seriously, so I didn't go improve at all.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense, though. Life always gets in the way of your chess abilities. So
definitely.
So then what has made you get serious? Because if you're playing norm events now, you are getting a lot more serious than you were then. What is driving you to do that?
So I'm at a school, Columbia Grammar, where the chess team is very big. Hans used to go there. He graduated.
Okay. Hans Niemann?
Hans Niemann, yeah.
Okay.
He graduated there 2 years ago. We have a chess team, and I want to do as much. And I also just really want to get GM by some point. Hopefully by the end of high school, though that's a bit ambitious. Right. But I have an IM norm. I'm hoping to get IM this summer.
Oh yeah, I said I asked that earlier, but you have one IM norm?
I have one IM norm, and I've been studying a lot recently.
Great.
A lot for me. And I just came off a big tournament, so I'm super excited to try to get my remaining 2 norms.
Okay, that's fantastic. So you've played how many norm events again? Say it one more time.
I mean, maybe 10. I think maybe a little bit less. Maybe more like 7.
Okay, and
a lot of those were when I was a bit lower.
Okay, that makes sense. So your recent events, though, are you working with any coaches? If you want to reveal that.
I'm fine to reveal. I recently switched. My whole life I was with someone named Georgi Kachishvili.
Okay.
Who is in New York.
Master, yeah.
Yeah. He brought me everywhere until the middle of 9th grade, where I was like, I want to do a little switch. And I switched to Daniel Naroditsky, who is very well known.
Okay. Yeah.
Charlotte resident, and
Naroditsky is one of the fastest players in the world, is he not?
Yes, he is. I got the honor to play him in Bullet one time, and it was very fun.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I started working with him, and I've improved a lot as well since then.
Okay, that's fantastic. So then let's nail down on some of your training then. You said you're working a lot for you. What does that mean? Like how much are you working each day? How many hours, and what are you working on?
So most kids, if not all, study more than me. I've talked to a lot of them, and I just tend to not study that much because I'm in school all day. I love the game, but I'm a little bit addicted to online chess sometimes. So I spend my free time sometimes doing that. But I have recently started spending consistently 1 to 2 hours a day, which, doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, it's been an increase.
So you're saying
Like,
you played more than you actually studied mostly.
oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I would sometimes spend a couple of hours doing online chess, which is just not helping me at all.
What
And I've
speeds?
toned
What
that
speeds?
down a bit.
5 or 3 or 1?
30-second, 1 minute. I was a big bullet guy.
Okay.
I got to top 50 on Wii Chess, so I was way too into it.
Oh well, I mean that's something. Congrats. I mean,
Thank
30
you.
seconds is a little bit of trash chess, but
No, of course.
but
Jump chess.
it's not the same as it used to be. All the modern players are like incredibly good at 1 minute. I mean, they're insane.
It's high quality, higher than you would think. Like, I think it's crazy, but the top players in 30-second are probably playing at a 1700 strength consistently.
Okay.
Higher for most of the game, but like then they make some dumb blunders and time scramble.
Right. Okay, so then is this the influence of Naroditsky that's pushing you to study more and play less, or?
Well, he plays a lot, but he really said some motivating words, which is that you have to tone it down. Like he said, he knows the addiction. He really understands it. He grew up in an age that my old coach didn't really grow up in. He wasn't exactly in an online chess era when he was becoming a grandmaster. He wasn't. But Naroditsky was, and he's given me advice on how to know that like you should be able to sometimes spend some time playing, but also focus on your chess as well, if that is what you want to do. And it is what I do want to study.
Okay. And so then what are your main areas that you're working on?
Openings. We're in an age now where I feel you need to know so much theory, and it sometimes is, a lot of people say it's the most boring part of chess, and I probably would happen to agree. It's really tough to look at a computer and wait for it to get to depth 40 and find, these cryptic computer lines where they, give these crazy novelties that just don't make any sense to you. But it's important, and it's part of the game, and I register that, and so I'm taking it much more seriously.
Okay, and is the memorization the boring part, or is there anything else about that?
I would like to say I'm okay at memorizing, more short term, but like I can memorize some stuff before a game, for example, up to 20 moves if I need to.
Right.
But I think it's more the finding the ideas. I guess like some people, just follow a Chessable course, but I have never done that. I didn't even really know what Chessable was until very recently. But that helps because they have like a whole software.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they have massive courses on there, like courses that you can't even finish in years, probably.
Exactly. It's very impressive
really,
that people
some of them are just encyclopedias that if you made a mistake,
100% agree.
You just look it up.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about that. About what the difference is to prepare for a closed event like this, because it seems like this kind of event would lend towards more your style, where your person you're playing the next round, and then you can just look up their openings and book 4, 5, 6 lines, however many lines you need.
I think I used to think like I don't think I'm going to be good at these norm events because people can prep for me. But I was like, but I can prep for them. And it's important because I feel like the playing field becomes more level, because when it is a open tournament, you get the pairings 15 minutes before the round. Someone like might know their line better than me off the top of their head, and I won't know what they're playing, and that can lead to some tough losses for sure, out of the opening.
Right.
And in these norm events, I try to predict what people are going to play. What color you have, who you're playing. You can mentally prepare for that, and you can prep lines. So that's very nice.
Yeah. What's the average amount of lines that depth that you're able to prepare? 20
like what depth? How many moves? It really depends because people are going to switch it up a lot of the time during norm tournaments. Like, is everyone going to play exactly what they play in every other game? No, people switch it up. So if people do play something that like very consistently, then it can be up to 15 moves, 20 moves. If it's a surprise, maybe it'll be closer to 10, but you never know. I'm sometimes out of theory on move like 6.
Yeah, I asked that question because for the amateur, you know, it's almost unfathomable to be prepping that deep into
I agree.
So it's amazing to see that. And I mean, do you ever get amazed that you're able to play such deep lines?
Well, you know, I feel like at a certain point, like, okay, like anyone can I mean, like if you just have an amazing memory, like I try to like imagine like the person who memorized, you know, however many digits of pi it was. Like, what if they just like decide to memorize a bunch of opening theory in chess? Like, what would happen? Of course, they wouldn't know what to do the second it gets out of the opening, but anyone can do that. What impresses me more is when I calculate quickly in a game and like see cool ideas. And that is what, you know, really is like, wow, like how do people do that? How did I just do that? You know, that's what really makes me love the game.
What would you describe as a cool idea? Tough question.
I love sacking pieces sometimes. And sometimes unnecessarily, but you know, I feel like that's where the part of art comes in. I forget who it was, but they said chess is a sport, an art, and a science. I'm forgetting what the name of the person who said the quote was. It was a famous chess player. I think a world champion. And, you know, chess is art sometimes. You know, when you play a brilliant tactic, you know, you find a 4-move combination. It's really beautiful. And that's what, you know, amazes me about chess every day. You can learn something new.
Right.
And that's great.
Let's talk real quick about what it's like to play strong players. You know, in this event, you'll probably play players that are 23, 2400. What is it like when you sit across the board from somebody who's like 100 points higher than you? You get nervous at all, or are you excited?
So I would say I've played a lot of people higher rated than me.
Yeah.
A lot of people lower rated than me. But when you're playing someone higher rated than you, the nice mindset is that they want to beat you. You know, a draw is not the best result for them, and a draw is like an okay result for you. When you're playing someone lower rated, it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
So you can play more adventurous when you're, you know, playing someone higher rated, because you have less, I guess, a risk, you could say. You know, if you lose, you lose. Yeah. Lower rated, you know, unfortunately rating matters a lot, for, you know, IM, for example, and GM. So against a higher rated opponent, you don't lose as much. So I feel I can bring out my creativity more than when I'm playing a lower rated person. I have to, you know, really stick to the principles, play safe, cautious, and try to outplay them and grind them down.
That's great. And so what's your current rating right now?
So live, I am around 2350 FIDE, 2450 USCF.
Wow, you gained that many points at the cadets. Okay,
I gained 67 FIDE.
Wow, that's fantastic. We didn't get into this yet. I'm glad that I remember.
Yes.
So you told me before the interview that you just won a major event. So go ahead and tell everybody what that was.
So I just played in the U.S. Cadet Championship, which is basically an invitational tournament for the top 8 under 16 players in the country. It was at the same time of the juniors, so 2 of the top players did not play. But it was an extremely strong field. I calculated the average. It was like 2370 FIDE,
wow,
which is extraordinarily strong.
Yeah.
I was one of the lowest people. I just tilted my rating down to about 2285 FIDE. And I came in there, you know, really wanting to prove that I can compete with these kids who are my peers. You know, I've known them forever. We've played together. We've grown as chess players together. And I went in there, and after drawing my first game to another one of the lowest seeds, I won 5 games in a row. Once the first one was against the lowest seed, and then I won 4 games in a row against the highest seed, and 3 other players who were all 100 points or higher rated than me.
Wow.
And 67 FIDE points with K20 is no joke. I had a 2687 performance rating, which was higher than Faruja at the candidates, fun fact. Not to throw any shade at him. I, of course, admire him. But I was I had no clue, and I could have gotten a norm if it was a 9-round tournament. So I was very happy. I really needed that to boost my confidence. I broke the next All-American threshold, which is an honor for the top players. It was 2450. Went up a very good amount of points. So I was very excited and happy.
What was your score?
I got 6 out of 7 to end it. 5 wins and 2 draws.
That is amazing. Well, congrats on that one.
Thank you.
I mean, how excited are you?
I try to, not be like, screaming with joy because, there's still work that has to be done.
Right.
I have more events to play, lots of work to do, but it was a really good feeling. And all of the people there were super congratulatory, and they were so kind, and they, were really happy, and we all just, it's a great community, and it makes me love the chess world even more.
That's great. One more question before I move on to the rapid fire. In those games that you won, I think this is interesting for the spectator. How many mistakes are you making even in the games that you won against higher rated players?
Oh, some of them look like rainbows. On chess.com, it shows, red, orange, whatever it is. But then there's some blue, which is for excellent move. I was consistently having a double exclam move in every game, so I was very happy about that. But I think what people need to know is even Magnus Carlsen makes a lot of mistakes, and don't get me wrong, he's an amazing player, but everyone does it. We're human. And I also made many mistakes in my games, but I made the positions complicated. That's more my style. So my games were much less accurate than others because of the way I was making the position.
That's awesome, Nico. Well, I appreciate that. A little bit of humility to go with your congratulations. So let's move on to the rapid fire questions. So, you can just use one words or a sentence. First question I have is, who is your favorite superhero?
That's a good one.
Everybody.
I'm going to say Black Panther. I love Black Panther.
Nice.
Great movie also.
Yeah,
that's the only superhero movie I've ever watched.
Well, it's got to be your favorite then. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
Well, there's a lot of characters in it, so you chose Black Panther. It makes sense. What's your favorite chess movie or TV show?
Queen's Gambit. I mean, how can I not say that?
Yeah, one of the most artful in years.
Yeah.
What about your favorite TV show overall?
I really love All American, which is a football show. I love it a lot. Yeah, it's about teamwork and whatnot.
Okay, that ties into my next question. What's your favorite sport? It's not football?
I like table tennis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're the second person that's answered that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of hand-eye coordination, and it's a super focused game, super mental. You have to really be alert. I love it.
A lot of opposition too.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so then let's see. What's your favorite holiday destination?
That's a tough one. Where I would want to go or where I've been in the past?
Either.
I really would like to go to Fiji or somewhere in that area.
Awesome.
I've heard the water is beautiful.
Fiji, wow. I've never been to Fiji, so I would love to go there as well.
Me neither.
Okay.
Quite far.
And then, do you have anybody that inspires you? Famous person or anybody?
Well, my parents really inspire me. How hard they work, how they're activists in the community. I really respect that, and how how much they've impacted me as a person and as a chess player. They're not chess players, but they have really also brought along this motto that I find really valuable, that, you know, be a good person first and a chess player second. So I really admire them for that.
I appreciate that answer. This might be a tough one. Which chess player, modern or historical, do you think is the most underrated? It's hard. It's easy to choose really strong players.
Pillsbury.
Oh, there you go.
He died young, so he doesn't really get that recognition, but he was amazing. He was really good. And he has an endgame. He was an endgame guy. We know about the Pillsbury structure with the knight on e5, and then killed him with the kingside attack.
Yeah.
I really love his chess. He was a great player.
Okay, fantastic answer. Okay, now, the moment everyone's been waiting for. What would you like to say to your fans?
Well, I guess I would say that if you're into chess, you should really, try it out. It's a great game. It really helps you with a lot of aspects in life. It helps you predict the future, predict what your opposition's trying to do, teach you to be prophylactic. And it helps you, learn a lot about the real world in some cases. You can't get better unless you work hard, and that goes not just in chess. So
that's a fantastic message. I mean, they're all going to be super appreciative of that. All right. On that really positive note, let's move on to one of your best games.
Okay.
Go ahead and share the screen when you're ready.
Sec. So this was a game a couple of months ago. I was playing one of the top female juniors in the country. And this just shows how important opening prep is, I think.
Okay, so give us the background. Who is playing?
So I'm black against Wu Yang Yan. She was a little bit higher rated than me at the time. Fide, but not USCF. We were very close rated.
Okay.
And I was black. And I saw that she plays the same line every game. And I prepped quite a nice line that basically got me, if not equality, a slight advantage with black quite quickly. And I did this, very quickly before the game. And I'm a Taimanov player. I play it a lot. And I knew I needed to switch it up and play a more spicy line possibly. And this really shows my attacking personality, I would say.
Awesome.
So it was a G3 Taimanov.
Which is very popular.
Yeah, Magnus Carlsen popularized it, and it's arguably one of the best. And I saw she played it every game. And I came up with the H5 move, which is not the main move by any means. But Shabalov has played it, and I'm a huge fan of his. I played him recently, actually, in the World Open.
Oh, wow.
Got a draw. I was winning, but I messed it up.
You
in the Taimanov.
Shabalov?
I was winning on move 15 or something, or 17. I was like +4.
You're talking about the former U.S. champion, right?
I am. And
awesome.
I played the Taimanov, and that's one
black.
of his favorite openings.
That's
and
incredible.
We got to talk about the game afterwards. It was great to talk to him. Such a strong player.
Man.
But yeah, I caught the Taimanov a lot from him, and a lot from my.
You gotta send us the link to that game, and so I can put in the.
Yeah, it was a beautiful tactical game. I don't know of how I can find it though. It was because it was at the World Open. They don't really live broadcast their games. Though this game was broadcasted, I'll try to find it. I also have the game saved somewhere.
Oh, okay.
But H5 is his move.
Okay.
And
it's interesting.
Yeah, and so she knew quite a bit of theory in the line, but I think it was a novelty. I played a novelty. It was a novelty up to knight c4, I believe. I can fact check it by looking online.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, there's been one other game in the line.
Yeah, make sure you close that window though.
Oh yeah. Oh, right. That's in the way.
Yeah, no big deal.
So
there's only one other game that this move has been played in. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, and basically at a certain point, she made a little bit of an inaccuracy. The best move's a3, and it's a crazy line that is impossible to know unless you've seen it. Basically, you like black stacks a rook on a8. It's ridiculous to say the least.
So you have to know this line, which is.
This is all my prep that I did before the game, and it's just ridiculous. You're down a rook here, and you go bishop b7, calm move. It's ridiculous.
It makes some sense because of pressure on the h file, but yeah.
Right, but no one would come up with this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it would be scary for white to play, and I would have felt I knew it better, so I was fine going into that.
Right.
But instead, she played a very normal move, rook e2, getting out of the pin that the bishop does with the knight, and now I just go d6, and she has to take it, and I'm already just, if not equal, slightly better. It's like 0.2, I believe.
Right.
I've all my pieces are out. Her king is weaker than mine, even though my king's on e8. I have queenside castle ideas, and just a lot of. I have the h file. Bishop c5 could be a problem. So this was very scary. But that became an endgame very quickly. She wanted to trade queens because her king was in danger, and this made sense. And I was like, okay, I thought I couldn't get away with keeping the queen on the board because after queen b6, there's bishop f2. So I castled, we traded, and here I grinded down the position. I brought my rook in, and
so what's the significance of rook d3 actually? Because that's kind of an opaque move.
So basically, I'm attacking the knight, and knight takes g3 is an idea. If I believe knight e5 was the best move, but I can take on e5.
Knight e5 is natural, but then I guess g3 is hanging on.
G3 is hanging at the end. There's still drawing chances, but black's already better. C3 was a mistake here. Knight e5. Or g4 was the best move in this position.
So what happens there? G4.
I can go back to e7, and now you can go c3, and now rook b3 isn't as much of a sting because the pawn on g3 isn't hanging. Right. It's close to equal.
Rook e3 is possible here, isn't it?
Rook e3 is possible. Well, yeah, that's actually very important because if you move the knight, rook d2 is a problem. But rook e3, I probably can go rook d1 if I want to play, but then there's rook e1, so I probably have to take. Knight d5 could be an idea, but you just move the bishop, and it's probably equal.
Yeah, and you have a slight advantage here because your bishops are way more active.
My bishops are more active, but it's not a big deal. Yeah. But I thought the significance of this game was more the opening prep, right. And it just shows that even in these tournaments where the pairings are posted 20 minutes before the game, if you know how to use your time, you can be very efficient. And I think that's one of my strengths is doing quick opening prep, which I guess maybe isn't super useful, but it was helpful for this game.
Let's finish the game, though, and then we'll go back to the earlier point in the game. So then, is the position falling apart here? Is that basically what's happening?
Yeah, and I just went bishop h4, and it's just dead lost. And I didn't even put the rest of the game because I win f4. After rook f1, I can take, and I'm just up a pawn for nothing, and it's just good game at this point. And the game went on like 10 more moves, but she resigned very quickly. Bishop e5 faces bishop g3.
Yeah. You go ahead and show that. You can put that on.
Well, or maybe I can't go bishop g3 because there you have king g2. But I can go f6. I can also go rook f2, which is very important because I get on the second rank and can attack the pawns. And if you take on g7, I have rook g3. It's very important.
Right.
So that's why bishop h4 was such a solid move.
Go ahead and show that real quick, just for any of the fans.
Yeah, of course. Rook g3, and I get the bishop.
Yeah.
And after bishop e5, the rook gets to f2. So rook f1 might be the best move, but I can even take. Rook d3 is also a move if I want to get on the second rank, which is, I believe, what happened. Rook d3, and I get to d2. Bishop g7 still doesn't exist.
And the f1 rook is just so passive.
Yeah, can't do anything. Yeah. King, if it goes to g2, I go rook d2. It's resignable.
Picking up all the pawns,
Yeah, so this was a nice game. I was happy.
So go back to 12 bishop b4 then, because let's talk about the opening prep a little bit more, because you said that's the main reason why you chose the game. So let's talk a little bit about it. So by this point, you're still in book and she's out, basically, right?
Precisely.
And how far ahead on time are you then?
Well, she blitzed out the first moves, and here she spent. She went queen d3 pretty quickly, which I was impressed by, because that's the best move.
Okay.
I went knight e7, and here she spent like 35 minutes, and that's already, and that was a big problem in the game, right? That's why I kind of went. That's why she didn't play perfectly at the end, was because she had very little time, and I was up like 45, 50 minutes.
Right. Yeah, and that's, I mean, that once you're up that much time, it's everything else is easier for you, right?
Precisely.
Okay. That's pretty awesome. Here, let's unshare, and then we can talk about that a little bit more, because I like that. I like the fact that you are so driven to prepare like this. I mean, you said you got the pairings for that like 20 minutes before the round?
Maybe 30 minutes, but not very. They post pairings right before the round. It's CCA, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done the same thing too, where I just grabbed my phone and looked up all the lines. I found my opponent's lines and gotten great games. Does that ever backfire?
I mean, if they know the line and like they play like a sideline in the sideline that you're already playing, you could be in some trouble. I have never had that happen to me that I remember, because the whole point of prepping is you want to make sure you feel comfortable in it.
Yeah.
And I am I don't want to take a risk in the opening. I have done that before, and it's just not worth it. But when that happens, that's just me not knowing the opening and them knowing it. And I usually just didn't prepare. So that's the reason why I know that is not fun.
Yeah, and that's more likely to happen in a big open event, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about your preparation for the upcoming 1000 GM, and then we'll wrap up. It's coming up within like a week, right?
Not mine.
Oh, your event's in 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Over 3 weeks.
Okay. So you have plenty of time to prepare then.
To be honest, I have not exactly started prepping yet, because I have a norm tournament before it. I have a crazy summer schedule.
Great.
But I will start shortly.
So are you going to play multiple? So you're playing the norm tournament, and then you're going to play another event before the 1000 GM event? I'm
the Denker New York representative.
Oh!
So I'll be playing right before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be able to see you there.
Yeah, you'll see me there.
I think I'll be working either the barber table, or I'm volunteering to work one of the tables.
Oh, that's great.
So
I'll see you there.
And so then the Denker is one of the biggest events of the year. Is this your first time playing the Denker, or?
Playing the Denker, yes. I played the barber last year.
Okay, how'd you do last year?
I was the #1 seed, and things didn't go as planned, let's say. But it happens, Chess is all about ups and downs, and what I think is important is to know is that it's not a team game, so there's no one really at fault other than yourself.
Yeah.
I didn't play to the best of my abilities, and I learned from my mistakes and just tried to strive to do better.
Right. And so where are you seated right now in the Denker? Do you know?
They don't really have it by rating, but there's people higher rated than me. It is very strong. there's a GM playing, there's multiple IMs playing,
Wait,
bunch of strong FMs.
How did you beat out players in New York that are higher? I mean, there's got to be higher rated players than you.
There's only one.
Oh, okay. So you...
And he did not play. He had a norm event.
Okay.
But I did beat him for the barber, and I actually just played him in the U.S. Cadets.
Oh,
so,
okay.
but he is definitely higher rated than me, and he is strict. He's competition, and he's a very good player.
So you've earned your stripes, and you deserve to be at the Denker clearly. From frankly,
I've
one
won
of the hardest states.
Yeah, New York, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
We have a huge chess community. Very strong state. I think it's New York, Texas, California are the big three that are usually known of, but there's other states that are also very strong.
Oh man, well, I'm very excited for you because that's one of the biggest events of the year. I mean, these norm tournaments are important for your overall career.
Of course.
But just prestige-wise,
Exactly.
playing well in the Denker will be excellent. So I wish you good luck there. And,
Thank you so much.
And maybe we'll have a follow-up because there's so much more to talk about. You've been great today, Nico. Any last words that you want to, impart of wisdom or anything that you want to people?
I just want to thank 1000 GM again so much for sponsoring this tournament. I'm really honored to get a play. It's my first time ever competing in a tournament like this, where it's free, and I really appreciate it. And I talked to so many people who are all in awe that this is happening. We're so happy. The chess community really appreciates it a lot, and I just want to thank them again.
I appreciate that, Nico. Thank you for doing this interview and taking the time. And good luck in your upcoming events.
Thank you so much.